It's not acceptable.
السؤال الرابع والأخير من فرنوش أميري AP News.
The fourth and last question from AP News.
Thank you, Secretary Blinken and Prime Minister, for taking questions. My question is, we've reported that there's an Egyptian proposal on the table that Qatar supports for a short pause in fighting in which Hamas would release a handful of hostages and humanitarian aid deliveries would be increased. What is the status of that proposal after, Secretary Blinken, after your discussions with Israel and Arab partners this week, including the Prime Minister? And then secondly, I wanted to ask this question to both the Prime Minister and the Secretary. How confident are you in Israel's assurances that any retaliation strike against Iran will not lead to further escalation in the region at this moment? Thank you.
So I'm not going to go into any details of what's on the table or potentially on the table with regard to the hostage and ceasefire deal. As I said a moment ago, we're looking at different options. But as you heard the Prime Minister say, we haven't yet really determined whether Hamas is prepared to engage. But the next step is getting the negotiators together. And I anticipate we'll know and we'll certainly learn more in the coming days. The bottom line is that, again, the quickest way to actually get hostages home, to actually get much more relief to the Palestinian people who so desperately need it, and to stop the conflict is through such an agreement. And at the same time, as I said, we also have to be working on, as we are, the plans for what would follow. But we'll know more, I think, in the coming days. But again, the fundamental question is Hamas serious? My hope is that, again, in our judgment, Mr. Sinwar was the biggest obstacle to actually concluding an agreement. My hope is that now their minds will be concentrated and we can get there and make progress. As I said also a moment ago, we strongly support Israel's right to defend itself. We've seen 2 unprecedented attacks, direct attacks, by Iran on Israel, with hundreds of missiles, including ballistic missiles, drones, other munitions. And thanks to the work we and a number of other countries did, Israel was able to defend itself, but these were extraordinarily dangerous, particularly with the potential for leading to a major escalation, and of course, in the first instance, a loss of life. So we've been working with Israel to look at what can be done to effectively deter any further Iranian attacks. And that's vitally important to making sure that we have peace and stability in the region. But equally, we want to make sure that any response is done in a way that does not contribute to or spark an endless cycle of escalation. That's not in anyone's interest. So that's what we're working on. And again, I hope Iran is getting the message very clearly from not just from us, but from other countries, directly or indirectly, that any further attacks it engages on toward Israel really risk fundamentally its interests. And what we need to see is a de-escalation of this, and that in turn, I think, can also contribute to all of the efforts we're making in other parts of the region, including with regard to Lebanon, and including, of course, with regard to Gaza. So we're focused on this very intently, and let me leave it at that.
Just, if you allow me to comment on the first part of your question, just to make sure that things are clear. We are closely coordinated with Egypt on any kind of initiatives that will emerge on the table. Today, there are an ongoing discussion between Egypt and Hamas. We hope that these discussions will yield to something positively, and the discussion that will come afterward, it will be a follow-up for that. So we are hoping to achieve something, as we are all serving the same goal. Regarding the potential escalation or what's happening right now in the region, Qatar policy remains the same, that we want to avoid any escalation from getting further. We are trying to talk to all the parties, and that's what's been doing for the last year now, in order to contain the situation and to avoid any escalation from erupting to a regional war, which all of us, I think, we want to avoid. Our objective is to stop the war in Gaza, to stop the war in Lebanon, and to reach a comprehensive ceasefire in the region. I believe the region been through a lot, especially in the last year, and it's enough. It's the time now for us to be more focused on bringing peace to our people in that region, and to focus on their prosperity and development, rather than just, speaking about conflict and seeing just rounds of an endless escalation.
Thank you.
والآن نختتم المؤتمر الصحفي. شكرا لمعالي رئيس مجلس الوزراء ووزير الخارجية وسعادة وزير الخارجية الملكي